We live in a world that is always, always on. But have you ever really stopped to think about what all that connection is actually costing us? Well, today, we're going to unpack the hidden price of our digital lives.
So what's this number? Almost 8 hours. That's the average amount of time an American spends looking at a screen every single day. Think about that. That's more time than most of us sleep. When you see it laid out like that, the scale of this is just staggering.
And this isn't just about killing time. As Dr. Chatterjee points out, this level of engagement is doing something much deeper. It's fundamentally changing our experience of what it means to be alive. That's a huge shift, and we are all living right in the middle of it.
Okay, so here's our game plan. First, we're going to look at how being always on just became the new normal. Then we'll get into the academic costs and the toll it takes on our well-being. And then, don't worry, we'll talk about the push to unplug and how you can start reclaiming your own time.
All right, first up, our digital default. For so many of us, especially for younger generations, being online isn't really an activity you choose anymore. It's just the default state of being. Let's see how deep this really goes.
So get this. According to one study of university students in Nigeria, over two-thirds, 68%, got their very first smartphone before they even turned 18. That means for the clear majority, their most formative developmental years are completely intertwined with this technology.
And that early start has a really profound effect on identity. These devices aren't just tools anymore. I mean, when you hear a teenager refer to their phone as their life, that's a signal that something new is happening, a kind of fusion between their digital world and their actual personal identity. So if our digital lives are shaping who we are, what are they doing to our ability to learn and to focus? That brings us right to the academic cost.
So here's the bottom line. The research is showing a really clear, statistically significant negative link. That same Nigerian study found that as the time people spend on social media goes up, their participation in academic stuff goes down, and their ability to manage their time, that goes down too.
And this isn't just some abstract idea. You see it playing out in the classroom. International data shows that a whopping two-thirds of American teens say they're distracted by their phones in class. And other studies back this up, showing that students who try to multitask with social media during a lecture, they tend to get lower grades. The connection is pretty hard to ignore.
Okay, so beyond grades and homework, what is the toll on our mental and emotional health? Let's dig into the impact this has on our well-being, from our mood all the way to our self-esteem.
For instance, a study of young women in India found a really powerful link. The ones who were heavy users of social media reported having significantly lower self-esteem and were a lot less satisfied with their bodies than those who used it less.
Now, this seems to paint a pretty simple picture, right? More social media equals feeling worse. But is that relationship always so cut and dry? Does scrolling through your feed directly cause you to feel bad?
Well, it turns out it's a little more complicated. That same research from Nigeria found that sometimes the cause and effect is actually reversed. It might not be that social media causes the bad mood, but that already being in a bad mood is what leads people to post more. It can become a really vicious cycle.
Okay, so we've laid out a lot of the problems, but what about the solutions? Now we're going to shift gears and look at the growing pushback against this always-on culture, the movement to unplug. This quote from a high school student in Brooklyn just captures the feeling perfectly. He's part of a group called the Luddite Club, and it's full of teens who decided to ditch their smartphones for old-school flip phones, all to get their time and their attention back.
And let's be super clear about what Luddite means here. This is not about being anti-technology. It's about being against the abuse of technology. It's about fighting for a more mindful, more intentional relationship with the devices we use every day.
And the benefits of cutting back? They're totally measurable. An experiment at Iowa State University had students limit their social media to just 30 minutes a day. And after only 2 weeks, the results were incredible. Anxiety went down, depression went down, loneliness went down, and they just had a brighter outlook on life. This brings us to our final and maybe most important section, reclaiming your time. How can we take all of these lessons and actually apply them to build a healthier digital life for ourselves?
You know, the idea of a digital detox can sound kind of huge and overwhelming, but it really just boils down to 3 simple steps. First, just acknowledge the habit. Become aware of how much you're really using your phone. Second, set some intentional limits. Maybe no phones at the dinner table. And third, reconnect offline. Make time for real face-to-face conversations.
And here is the most encouraging part from that college study, and maybe the whole explainer. You don't have to be perfect. Even the students who struggled and didn't perfectly stick to that 30-minute limit, they still saw huge improvements in their well-being. Just making the effort is what makes the difference.
So that leaves us with one last question to think about. In this world we've built to be constantly connected, what do we really gain? And maybe more importantly, what do we stand to lose every time we make the choice, even for just a little while, to log off?